Good day, this is Luis Angelo C. Anino and I will be discussing about proving theorems on different kinds of parallelograms. In order to understand better this lesson, you have to acquire these following skills: properties and definition of the different kinds of parallelograms and other theorems on triangles, lines, and etc. Here are some theorems that is needed in the lesson. Theorem 1, the diagonals of a rectangle are congruent. Theorem 2, if the diagonals of a parallelogram are congruent, then the parallelogram is a rectangle. Theorem 3, the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular to each other. Theorem 4, if the diagonals of a parallelogram is perpendicular to each other, then the parallelogram is a rhombus. Theorem 5, each diagonal of a rhombus bisects the opposite angles of the rhombus. Theorem 6. If a diagonal of a parallelogram bisects two opposite angles of the parallelogram, then the parallelogram is a rhombus. Let's try to prove this example. Given the WINS is a rectangle with diagonals WN and SI, prove WN is congruent to SI. We will prove this using two-column proof. For our statement number 1, we have WINS is a rectangle with diagonals. Reason is given. Statement 2, WS is congruent to IN. Reason, properties of a rectangle. Angle WSN and angle INS are right angles. Reason is also properties of a rectangle. Statement 4. Angle WSN is congruent to angle INS. Reason is all right angles are congruent. Statement 5. SN is congruent to NS. Reason is reflexive property of equality. Statement 6. Triangle WSN is congruent to triangle INS. The reason is by SAS congruence postulate. Statement 7. WN is congruent to SI because of CPCTC, or corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So, we already proved WN is congruent to SI. Let's prove another example. Given parallelogram ABCD with diagonals AC and BD, AC is perpendicular to BD. Prove parallelogram ABCD is a rhombus. So we will prove this using a two-column proof. So statement 1, AC is perpendicular to BD. Reason is given. Statement 2. Angle AEB and angle AEB are right angles. Reason is definition of perpendicular lines. Statement 3. Angle AEB is congruent to angle AEB. Reason is all right angles are congruent. Statement 4. Triangle AEB is congruent to triangle AEB. Reason is right angle theorem. Statement 5. AB is congruent to DA. Reason, by CPCTC, or corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Statement 6. ABCD is a parallelogram. Reason, given. Statement 7. AD is congruent to BC and AB is congruent to DC. AD is congruent to DC and AB is congruent to BC. By properties of a parallelogram. Statement 8. AD is congruent to BC and AB is congruent to DC and DC is congruent to BC by transitive property of segment congruence. Statement 9. Parallelogram ABC is a rhombus. Reason, definition of a rhombus. So, that's all for proving theorems on the different kinds of parallelograms. Thank you for listening.